This podcast is sponsored by Virtual Summit Camp. Are you ready to be known as the go-to expert, to build your list of potential clients, and of course, to make a little bit of moolah? Then you want to create a virtual summit today. Go to virtualsummitcamp.com and find out more about how you can start creating your first virtual summit today. Welcome to the Money Making at Home podcast. I'm your host, Osayi Mokwaila Sisi, and I'm so glad that you're here. Make sure you go to the website, osailasisi.com/money, just so that you don't miss any one of these interviews, any of these podcasts. And today, I have an amazing podcast for you because I have an amazing guest with me. She is so amazing because she's going to teach us all her secrets, all her money-making secrets. And her name is the wonderful Esther Kerr-Inman. And she's going to be talking to us today about being a virtual assistant. And some of you might not even know what being a virtual assistant is, so I'll let her tell us about it because it is a fabulous way to make money and travel, which she does. So let me give you a brief bio. Esther found herself as a military wife with a small son to take care of, mostly alone. Her fancy corporate gig just wasn't going to cut it anymore. So she set out to learn how to work from home without selling anything and entered the world of virtual assisting. Quickly, she found her niche as a course creator for high-end clients and now teaches other military wives and moms how to have it all and work from anywhere as virtual assistants too. Esther currently travels full-time with her 6-year-old, showing him the world and working along the way. Welcome, Esther. I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. Anytime I get a chance to share more of the truth behind what I do and give more of the world a peek into it so that they can do it too. Some hope that it doesn't have to be the way that you thought your life had to be or what you're currently doing. I am always happy to share and get more of the word out there. So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. And wow, you're traveling with a 6-year-old. I currently have a 2-year-old. So I can't even imagine. How are you handling it?
Day by day. he's actually pretty easy. He's not, so he's a boy, right? So he's busy. So every day I have to make sure he's getting outside, or right now we're somewhere that's cold. Like literally we're in the middle of a blizzard. So I'm not used to that from California. So I had to get some toys down into the basement where we're staying so he can kind of bounce around. So I have to make sure that he's getting like physical activity, but otherwise, it's actually pretty great. It forces me to get out of the house every day, whether we go for a walk or we go to the library or we go find things to do around town. The world is his classroom. So we get to find different kinds of things that are fun and educational, and it forces me to get up, move my butt, and also get out of the house also. So I think it's actually been pretty great.
Oh, that sounds amazing. So tell us a little bit about this journey, about you becoming a virtual assistant and picking this niche. I think this is such a specific niche. How did this happen? Take us through that journey.
Sure. So I actually went to school to become a teacher, and that's what I graduated with. I have a normal 4-year degree, and then I have an extra year where I did a teaching credential program. So that's really where my background is, which is how it ties into doing the courses. So I did teach for a few years, but everybody may remember when the economy was totally in the crapper. They were firing all of the public school teachers, not hiring any. It didn't pay at all. I was going to have to live at home as a grown woman to try to be a teacher. And so I did it for a little while. I actually got to teach in Europe at some international schools, which was fun. And I traveled and did some cool stuff. But then I met my husband. I got married, and he was in the military. He's in the Marine Corps. He just got out after 10 years, actually, Semper Fi. And he was gone all the time. I think he was home for 6 months, and then he got deployed again for 8 months. He was just gone constantly. And then people don't know, but when you're in the military, even if you're not deployed, your spouse is usually gone 12 plus hours a day. His workday started he would leave at 6 in the morning and he wouldn't get back until 6 or 7 at night. And sometimes he'd even work on weekends. He'd work at night. It was craziness. So trying to have a job, a normal I was working in software at the time. I transitioned into software, trying to have a normal job where like, oh, I'm just going to commute to work and work. And it was impossible with a little kid. Like I was doing everything. I had to drop him off at daycare. I had to go to work all day. I had to make all the meals. I was a single mom essentially, but with a spouse who also needed me to help him with laundry and help him with errands. It was madness. And so I was very, very unhappy. I was really depressed. I was crying all the time. I thought I had my dream job. I was like, I was at that time a traveling software trainer, which is what I mean, traveling and training and, teaching was like my passion. It was exactly what I wanted to do. But I was crying in my hotel room every single night because I missed my family. I knew I wasn't there for them. My kid didn't even want to talk to me on FaceTime anymore because he was like, you're not coming back. I was gone for 3 weeks at a time. Like it was awful. So I said no more. And I didn't know what God had in store for me, but I knew that this was not it, and that I knew that there had to be more for women. It didn't have to be the choice between let me go work full-time or be a stay-at-home mom. I was determined to find something that was going to fit in that in-between world. There is a spot. There really is. And so I entered the world of becoming a virtual assistant. I found my gig. It was almost full-time. I found it on Craigslist actually. And surprisingly, there's actually a lot of virtual assistant positions you can find on Craigslist. And I luckily had lots of experience to kind of back me up, which helped. But I can talk about what to do if you don't have all that kind of experience, because it's totally possible for anybody. So I entered the world of virtual assisting. But because of my experience, I quickly moved into being a course creator as part of my client's business. And that's what she did. And then she kind of exited out of the business and started doing other things. And I just kept going with course creation. I just kept creating courses for clients. And I'm really, really good at what I do. And so I was able to work with high-end clients instead of having to kind of learn along the way and build a portfolio and kind of muddle through. I've been teaching for a long time, so I was able to merge my past experience with the virtual world really seamlessly. And so now I create courses, and I do still do some online virtual assistant gigs here and there when I need the money, just for extra money or some consistent income kind of in between projects. So I still have my toe dipped into that world. But for the most part, I create courses for clients, and I love what I do. And then I also, try to spread the love and teach other women, especially in the military community, because none of them have any idea that they can have a career despite their husband being gone all the time and moving all the time, and how crazy it is with the kids and all this stuff by yourself. So that's kind of a little bit of my journey.
Wow, that is an amazing journey. I have so many questions to follow up. I'm trying to think which one to ask first. Okay, tell us a little bit about course creation. I mean, the way you're talking about it, I'm figuring, okay, you just go online, and if you want to put it on Teachable, you put it on Teachable, or you go on WordPress or whatever platform you want to put it on. What is so special about what you do? Not that I'm saying you're not awesome. I know you're awesome already, but I'm just trying to figure out, how can somebody who might be interested in that, what can they say is special about focusing on course creation?
Do you mean like what my clients see value in, or do you mean like what I do in particular that is like, so like what my skill set is, that what I do for them?
You can answer both.
Okay, I'll do from both perspectives. Okay. So from my client's perspective, the way that I'm able to work with higher end clients is that I do it all for them. So it's all done. So that's what I offer. It's basically a course in a box. And I don't do things on Teachable. These are clients who have their own platforms, or they want to have their own platform, but a lot of them already do. And they're busy. I mean, if you think about it, they need to be speaking, putting on their events, they're traveling, they're doing all kinds of other stuff. They're doing podcast guests, they're on media. So they're not really like, let me like write out my course and record it and put it up on WordPress and no. They're not doing that. So basically I work with them so that on my end, I mean, I know how to design curriculum, so that's my skill set. So I have planners and templates that I use to design out the curriculum. I pull it from their head, or they'll send me, crazy notes. Sometimes they'll send me like a mind map that they just kind of put together. Sometimes they'll send me recordings that they've done from old things, and I'm able to pull out what the main, important pieces are from there and put it into something that makes sense, like a plan that actually makes sense. And then we can repurpose what they've already done, or we create all the scripts, we'll create the slides, we'll even do branding for them if they need it. And so then all they have to do is press record and record, or I can even do the recordings for them. So I offer, it depends on what the clients want, but it's really a huge time saver for them because it's getting the ideas that they either have in an archive somewhere, or they have in their blogs, or they have on their Facebook, wherever they have, and getting to repurpose it and actually charge for it, number one. Or it's a time saver for them because they can just hand their notes or their crazy ideas or spend 2 hours with me, and then I can put it into a course and wham, bam, boom, it's done. So that's really, I didn't know that this was a special skill set, which is something I hope everyone's taking away. Like, this little teacher is now creating courses that people are charging like $2,000 for. So I was able to, adjust my skill set so that I'm not in a classroom. I'm working from home, creating these fantastic online courses. So it's totally a different way of working, but you kind of have to start to do that to work from home. How can I use my skills and my skill set in a little bit of a different way and be like a boss at it? So I'm really good at what I do because I have a freaking credentialed teacher. So it was like an easy transition for me, and I had to think outside the box a little bit.
Oh, goodness. That is awesome. And the way you explain it, it just makes so much sense because yes, there's so much going on, and they don't, these high net worth, high profile clients, they don't have all that time to sit down and outline and think about it and stuff like that. Like, they're just like, if you need me to record the video, just tell me, record this, and I'm done. You format everything. Yes. That is awesome. Wow. Yeah. So let's say, for example, I wanted to teach a course on, I'm trying to think of something random that's not necessarily in my field, like potty training a child. I want to teach an online course for parents or something. How would you help me design that syllabus?
So basically, I would sit down with you and pull out from your head. There's two ways. Like I said, I could pull out from your head, okay, what are the main things that parents need to know about potty training? Or I would say, okay, what content do you have that you want to base this on? Because a lot of times people are like, I have all these blogs I've already written, or I have 3 ebooks I've already done, or I have this. Some people will send me somebody else's course, and they'll be like, I really like this course. Let's merge this with my ideas. We could pull from here, but then let's do our own thing kind of thing. So we'll do either a session together where I pull stuff from your head, or you'll send me kind of content or ideas you already have. And then I really focus on what the main learning goals are, or the main, takeaways that you want your potential customers to have. And that's what becomes the learning goals of the course. And then from there, it's really easy to break them into modules and lessons. Once you know what you're trying to teach them, you just keep breaking it down until I usually do about 5, my packages for 5 modules, and it's about an hour's worth of content for each or less. And so we'll break those down into lessons within each module. Okay, what worksheets and workbooks should we have that go along with it? Would this be good to speak in front of the camera, or do we want to have you speak behind slides? Do we want to have both? Do we want to have it interwoven? So we talk about all that kind of stuff about what would be best for that particular content, and also, how much time the client has to invest in it. And then, we just design it all out from there. So it doesn't even matter the topic. So a lot of people are like, I have a new client who's like about skincare. I don't know anything about skincare, but I do research. I look at my resources and I'm pulling from, it's really just reorganizing everything from them into a better consumable format that makes more sense to their potential customers who are going to be learning it.
Oh my goodness, Esther, you're making this sound so cool. I mean, because who would have thought about focusing on designing courses or helping to implement that? I mean, that is just amazing. So tell us, we're eager. We want to be virtual assistants. Tell us what the steps will be. Tell us how we can pick our niche. Just give us all the information you can give us.
Sure. So for virtual assisting, it's a really neat industry, and it's so hot right now. Everybody needs a VA, almost to the point where now you really do need to specialize and have a niche, because otherwise you're just going to be more white noise of being a VA. Like, that's how awesome it's been. And I'm so happy to see that this happened, because for women like us who have kids or want to be a nomad and travel around and do whatever and not be tied to a desk, or what's hard for me was that I really actually enjoyed working. I don't like being a stay-at-home mom. It's not my thing. But I didn't like that I had to make that choice. Either never see my kid or be with them 24/7. So it's just nice to have the choice to be able to do a little bit of both and be able to create your own life the way that you want to do it. So I love that virtual assisting is so big right now. So it's
sorry to interrupt, but you're a woman after my own heart. Like, I don't necessarily want to see my child 24/7, but I don't want to have to commute every single day, and I'm restricted to your time. So go ahead. Tell us how to be virtual assistants.
Make your own life, right? So it's a perfect opportunity to start getting into this right now. And I would really stress it now, because the more you wait, it's going to change. You might have to do something. So just start now if this is interesting to you. First, I would suggest taking a bit of an intake on all of your past experience and all of the skills that you have. And don't think that anything is too small. The fact that you might know how to use Microsoft Office, like Microsoft, you know how to type on Microsoft Word? Do you know how to put it together, a simple Excel spreadsheet? Do you know how to, input data onto, one of those platforms, make a PowerPoint presentation? Like a lot of the stuff we all did in high school even. So if you know that stuff, okay, perfect. Put that on that list of those skills that you have. You obviously know how to post to Facebook, right? So okay, great. Now you can post to different platforms on social media. Do you know how to post a Twitter update? Awesome. So those are all different kinds of skills. Do an intake of all the skills you have. Don't leave anything out. Don't think that because you worked in HR at this other company, that's not going to be useful. No, you did a lot of valuable things there. And if you have a degree, that's even better. So put that all on like a gorgeous, just make yourself a little intake sheet of all your skills that you have. Then it's important to focus on what kinds of people you would like to be working on, which is kind of hard when you're just starting out because you don't really know what's out there, what's going on, and that's okay. You might piece this together as you first take your first couple of jobs. But for example, I have some of the people that I mentor and they're like, I really am into health and fitness. I used to be a personal trainer, or I used to be a health coach for like an ML, like a network marketing company, or I used to do this. I really love that. Great. Why don't you be an online administrative assistant, a VA, for someone who's trying to run those kinds of businesses, and they need someone to help them with all the behind the scenes stuff so that they can focus on just meeting with their clients one-on-one, so you can kind of focus on something on an area that you're passionate in eventually. But like I said, if you're having a hard time in the beginning figuring out, that's okay. Then I suggest there's so many free resources online. So now you want to fine tune those skills that you have. So I think that the hottest things right now to know there's a couple of them I'm going to give you. Here's my cheat sheet. Ready? The hottest things to know right now are basic Infusionsoft skills. Okay. So Infusionsoft is a software platform that's very complicated, and entrepreneurs and business owners don't want to know it. So if you can learn even just the basics, and I'm telling, like, you can probably learn it for free on some YouTube videos or online, or, you can find a resource where it's like $100 and they'll give you a little mini course on how to do all the basics that you would need to know. Okay. So you don't have to invest a lot. So Infusionsoft is one. Social media content creation, that's a package I offer, for example, where you offer somebody to write their blogs for them and create those pretty image posts for their social media pages. So you're like looking at me like, what the heck? I don't know how to do any of that. You can learn how to do it. There are free resources online. You can go on to places like CoSchedule. They have a great resources that are free that you can learn from. There's also paid resources that will teach you how to put together a social media package. So if you have any experience in writing, any at all, even just from college writing, okay, great. You can probably write a blog. They're not that hard to write. And there's free even courses on how to write a great blog, and then how to put together social media posts. You don't need a fancy software. You can use a software like Canva. So those are two really hot ones, Infusionsoft and social media packages. Those are really great ones to know. And then the rest is just kind of basic assistant stuff that you could offer. So that's where I would start if I was getting started, because you want to pick things that people are going to pay, like are willing to pay money for. There's all kinds of other stuff that you can learn along the way. There's, email management, loading in emails on different applications like a MailChimp or like, different ones like that. But again, that's stuff you can kind of learn as you go. I would get started in something that a client's going to want to pay you money for, and pay you good money for, because I want you to be able to charge between $20 and $30 an hour right out the gate if possible. And so for that, focus on those kinds of tasks you do for a client that are going to be really valuable to them. And those are those kinds of tasks, just as an example. Is that helpful?
That is extremely helpful. I was just taking notes and I'm like, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, Yeah, you talk about, okay, coming out the gate and getting paid $20, $30. There will always be clients like me, cough, cough, who would try to negotiate that down. Like, oh my goodness, I know you're awesome, but can we come down to whatever, whatever? How do you deal with that as a professional VA?
So there's two answers. So for the VA that's just getting started. So let's say that you're like, okay, I did my intake, I've taken some free courses, I know how to do all this stuff. I just need a client to like pay me to do it. Like I just need my first client. So actually for in those instances, I wouldn't put your prices down necessarily. That's a little bit separate. I would just offer some mini packages for free, because that is how you're going to get your first clients. That's how you're going to get testimonials. That's how you're going to get referrals. So here's what I tell everybody who wants to get started. Put together even like a little cute image using Canva is a great spot that says, Esther Kerr-Inman, free 5 hours of admin support. And then your contact information or a link where they can book a consultation with you. Make it really cute so that it's attractive. Now you can post that everywhere and people will be like, oh my gosh, free 5 hours of admin. That's great. I'll take it. Or it can be a package, like free social media package. Your first one is free. Or when you buy 3 months worth of social media package, you get one free. Some kind of cute little promo where you're offering, honestly, your services for free. I've seen people do free transcription where they take the audio and, type it up. They offer, I'm going to do 3 transcriptions for you for free, no longer than 10 minutes each. I'm trying to build up my portfolio, my testimonials, stuff like that. So that's the kind of stuff that you can offer to build up your repertoire of clients, build up your referrals, and make them give you a testimonial. That's very important. I would even do a contract with them that says, I'm doing these hours for free in exchange for a testimonial. It also gives you practice in how to do contracts and working with clients. So all of that, I would do that for a couple early on. And then from there, you can charge more. Nobody wants to pay you $20 to $30 an hour if you have no experience. So kind of some people that I've mentored, they gotta get off their high horse of like, well, I have a degree and I've been working in marketing. I want to charge $15 an hour. It's like, well, yeah, but you've never worked in the virtual world at all. You got to give it a little bit of time and go slowly. Once you're a little more established and you have a client like yourself come to you and say, I know you're great, but I can't afford $30 per hour. Is there anything you can do? It depends on where I'm at. If I really need the money and I'm, wanting, and I really believe they're going to be a consistent client, if they're signing up for a 3 to 6 month contract, if they're buying a package, like if they're doing, if they're really investing, then I'll totally knock off to whatever. Like, let's say it's a 30, I want a 30 per hour. I'll say, okay, I can do it for 25 an hour. But honestly, usually I recommend that girls do packages. So you do a package of hours per month that a client buys and they use them or lose them kind of thing. Otherwise, hourly sucks and you're going to be in this trap of trading your time for money and it sucks. And then clients will decide to take vacation for 2 months and you're screwed and have no money. So I actually recommend eventually that girls move into packages, a package of hours. And then once you're a little more established, I don't waver on what I charge at all. And I will just to give you guys all an idea of how far you can go with this. I started out charging $20 per hour for my first client with all of that experience and a degree and everything, because I was just getting started in the industry. Okay. So I left a $65K job and started making $20 per hour, but I didn't care because I was working from home. So I was like so happy. Then I moved into charging $30 to $40 per hour for more higher end online business management. And then when I do my course creation, which sometimes I still will do both of these. When I do course creation for clients, I actually charge $75 to $100 per hour because I'm working at a way higher level. And what I'm doing and the skills I'm bringing to the table are way more intensive. And I have a friend who does $200 per hour as an Infusionsoft consultant because she's focused her skill set so much. She's been working in Infusionsoft for only 3 years, and she's a rock star at it. And so she can find clients. They don't need her too much, maybe just 2 hours a week, but she found her niche. She loves to do it, and she's able to charge so much more. So that's just to give you an idea of kind of the path you can take when you get started, when you're kind of middle of the road, and when you really start to focus and really start to be able to get those higher end clients. And I've only been in business for 3 years too. So it's not like it's taken me 10 years to get to 100 per hour. Like, no, it hasn't. So that's how I deal with pricing that comes from clients, how I do my pricing myself.
Wow. That is awesome. That's so much great information. So, we talked earlier about you having a child, a 6-year-old. I think it said 6-year-old. Okay. So
Yep.
how exactly do you manage to concentrate and do your work or even do this podcast without interruption?
Yeah, no, this is something that I really harp on, because two things. One, moms are either thinking, oh my gosh, I have so much downtime all day. I could totally like work a business and work with clients while the kids are like watching Sesame Street in the morning, or while they're napping, or, I have so much time during the day. So they're either in that end of it, or they're on the other end where they think that, there's no way I can possibly do this. How am I going to do this with my kids? They need me all day long. So we're going to so we're not getting trapped in those two ends of the spectrum. Okay. Those are both lies. We're going to live a balanced life. We're going to have a balanced approach to this. And the way to have a balanced approach to it is to just be honest with the situation. So here's how I did it. In the beginning, when I wasn't making a ton of money, I had to work around my son's schedule. He was little then. He was only 3. I had to work around my son's schedule. So guess what? I got up really early. I worked on projects then. He kind of could chill and watch TV in the morning. So I couldn't take meetings. You can't take client meetings, and you're going to have meetings every week. I couldn't take meetings while he was awake, but at least I could get some kind of admin done while we kind of sat on the couch, ate breakfast, woke up, watched Sesame Street, hung out until about 10. Then it was mom. I was on for mom for a couple of hours. Then he took a nap, and I would work a little bit more then. And then after he'd go to sleep, or when my husband would come home, then I would work a little bit more then. So that's how I started. Sometimes I would work, like when we and my husband would have gone through some really awful times, and during the day we were just like craziness, I would have to stay up until 2 a.m. working. So that's how it started. Now, it wasn't forever like that. There had to be an end in sight, and there was an end in sight. Once I was making more money and I had more consistent clients, I was charging a little bit more. I had, we had more income. We'd caught up on bills, things like this. Then I enrolled my son in preschool, and he just went, I think, for 3 days a week, and I was able to afford that. So 3 days a week he went. And then from there, it opens you up to be able to do more work because now you have more time. So then it's an investment. You have to look at it as like an investment in your business. It might not mean preschool for you. Maybe it means you do a childcare swap with someone. So they take them for 2 days and you take hers for 2 days. Or you have someone come in and help you with housework and watch your kids for you just 2 days a week. But you have to have, the point I'm trying to get across is you have to have time to have meetings with clients where there's no kids in the background and things aren't like loud and you're breastfeeding at the same time. Like you can't. And you also need to have time. You just have to have focused work time. Like I'm staying with family in Portland, Maine right now where we're visiting. And once the kids get up around, like they're kind of up around 9 a lot of the times, I know that I'm not hardly going to get any work done. Like it's just going to be kind of half paying attention. So guess who has to get her butt up early to get some quiet, focused work done? And I get so much done in those 2 hours because nobody's asking me questions. Don't also have the TV on and the other kids playing on the iPad and they need me to help them get a snack. You have all those distractions. So that's how you have to look at it. Investing in your business once you're ready, working, odd times when it's quiet, and then investing in your business when you're able to financially, and then taking on more work because you're able to from there and helping your business grow in that way.
I love that. Yes, we need balance. And I like that you talked about the different transitions you've gone through. So it's not like whatever's going on right now is the way it has to be forever. So what,
it's always different.
Yeah. And, you just kept building based on your budget, based on what you're able to do, and just realizing that you needed to stay professional. And I love the image of like kids running around and you're breastfeeding and you think you can focus on client work. You really cannot.
You can't.
Yeah.
And then, I did sometimes need to get stuff done and he was home. And so my tricks for that are I would try to keep iPad away. So there's a couple other tidbits, kept iPad away except for emergencies. So then it was like, not emergencies, but like, when I was like, crap, I really got to get this done. So then he was like super engaged in it. Same thing for TV. I would try to limit it. So then it was only kind of during that morning time and maybe in the afternoon. So it would kind of get me an extra hour each time because he was super focused on it because I didn't have it on all day long. And then the other trick I can give is to do the same thing with toys. If you have a little bag of toys that you only bring out when you're like, crap, I got to make this deadline and he's awake and I can't get away, or I have a meeting, I can't get out of it, but he's awake. I, number one, let my client know, hey, just so you know, my, this is an odd time for us to meet. I usually plan meetings around my child's schedule, but he's awake right now. He might poke in. Sorry about that, but I'm here. But then I always have that secret weapon. I have my secret weapon iPad. I have my secret weapon TV. I have my secret weapon of the little basket of toys that I only bring out when it's, oh my gosh, I need to have a quiet hour. And then he's fine. I just mute myself if he has a question. But I had to teach him early on, when mommy's door is shut, and I'm in here by myself, or no, the door's not shut, but if I'm on my headphones on, depending on his age, now he's older, so I can shut the door. But he knows not to come in and bother me. He had to learn from a young age, and sometimes it meant being upset that I couldn't help him or whatever. But he's learned, and now he knows. Like, he's come in actually. He's interrupted twice while you and I have been talking. I don't know if you could tell or hear, but I just looked at him and I said, no, I am on a meeting right now. You need to go out. I have like little hand motions, and then he gets it and he goes and he figures it out.
Oh, that's great. I love it. And I love that you talked about TV and the iPad, because now I feel better about doing that with my daughter. And I will say, Esther has given me permission to do that, because I always do that whenever she's around. Yeah, she's in school or preschool. But whenever she's around and I have to get work done, I have to bring out the handy dandy iPad or turn on the TV or something like that. And
I think the trick is like, I found that when I shifted from, because we kind of just would have the TV on in the background, on and off throughout the day. And then the iPad, I kind of would let him do it whenever he wanted. And so it was just a simple shift of, when he's not paying attention to the TV, I'm going to just turn it off. And so it's not always on. It was more of a focused activity. Same thing with the iPad. It's not just whenever. I just put it in a drawer, and he had to ask for it. And then I would say no until I was, I needed him to. So it was like a tiny little simple shift that we did. And it made a huge difference in allowing me to have some more, even if you're not working from home, I just need an hour to like chill out and like be my own person and drink this cup of coffee. It's nice if you just make those tiny shifts and your kid can be engaged in something else for a while.
Yes. Those are such awesome tips. So talk to us a little bit about, you say you're in Portland, Maine right now, and I know you're a digital nomad. So how do you manage it? And how do you think some of us who might be interested in traveling and stuff, how can we get into that kind of lifestyle as well?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm a pretty open and honest person. So I'll be honest, mine came not by, I don't want to say default, because it was a planned thing. But it happened because my husband and I are actually going through a divorce now. We're not on bad terms. We're actually on great terms, but due to his military history, he has just a lot of mental stuff going on, and it just made it impossible for us to be together as a family anymore. So it kind of was like, I got to go somewhere, and the world is my oyster now, because I'm not tied to my husband's military life or the stuff he was doing anymore. So it allowed me to have this kind of freedom. So if you're not in that situation, but I'm as a single mom, so I had to keep that into mind now. So if you're not in that situation, you have your husband to also deal with. You have to think about that too, right? Of like, okay, well, what can he do also? Or how can I go? You can go sometimes just go for a couple of weeks and then come back. And that's okay too. You can do it however you want to do it. But if you are, I don't want to call it the luxury of being single, but I did have the choice to be able to do this. And so what I did, the first thing I did was you have to start to separate your attachment to your stuff. That's a really big part of it. And it's actually really easy once you get going. So I just put everything that was precious to me and everything that was going to be very, very expensive to replace, such as a very expensive, nice office chair, because I work from home, but I have back problems. So I invested in a good chair. I wasn't willing to part with it. That stuff went into a tiny little storage unit. It's only $80 a month. The rest of my stuff, my furniture, things like that, we just got rid of it. We stopped being attached to so many things. So we just got rid of stuff. And we have our life into suitcases at the moment, besides that little storage unit. And that was the first step. And it's so freeing once you get started. It's so freeing. So we did that. And then after that, I would suggest looking at your the work that you're doing and the income that you are making, and then the expenses. So it's kind of a really basic exercise, really. So your expenses go way down when you don't have rent to pay, when you don't have, internet, you don't have even electrical bills anymore. You don't have to pay for gas or for a car. I sold my car, got rid of my car. So a lot of your expenses go way, way down. I think the only expenses I have now are my monthly storage unit and my monthly cell phone. And then I intertwine. You can do house sitting gigs. Those are free. I stay with family sometimes. That's free. And then I'll intertwine that, depending on how my income is, with I do like Airbnbs or housing swaps or different kinds of things on VRBO is another good resource to find cheaper places to stay that are like long-term rentals. And a lot of times people don't know that actually if you go on Airbnb and you do it for a month or longer, they have like crazy discounts. It'll be like 30 to 60% off sometimes. So you can get a place to stay in for a long time and not pay what it looks like when you just kind of log in. So it makes it a little bit more accessible. The biggest part I would say in terms of the working part is there's so many opportunities, legit ways to make money online right now. You just have to find them. So get that into your head, get out of there's so many scams, or I don't want to sell things with network marketing. Those are my only options. It's not true. There's so much out there. You just have to look. So, but I would say you want to balance between something that's going to bring you in consistent income with other things that might be project-based, or the clients aren't committed to, a long-term arrangement. So that's what I have found, because, actually, as soon as I got out here, one of my biggest clients ended his contract with me, and I was panicking and freaking out. But thank goodness I've diversified. So I have another client who's still consistent every month. And then I have another 2 projects that are courses. So it's like, I kind of had to diversify. Don't put all your eggs into one basket. Oh, this one client, they want to hire me full time to be their VA. The contract, we can end it at any time. I'm going to go. I would not do that. I would make sure you have somebody else, or make sure you have another project, or maybe you teach English online. Even just a little bit each week, just to bring in another, it's called I call it diversifying my portfolio. I don't know if that's the word for it, but it's diversifying your client base of where you're getting your income in from, so that if you're, in the middle of Portland, Maine, and your biggest client, who is 30 hours a week, decides to just drop off, that you're not screwed. So that's my biggest advice, is letting go of your stuff. And analyzing, okay, what are the expenses, the real expenses, the only expenses that we're going to have. And you'll see how little it is and how little you can actually live on when you take those steps. And just be creative with where you're going to get that income from. Some people rent out their home and they're able to live on, part of what they're renting out. That counts as income. So some of it's going to cover your mortgage, and the rest of it can go towards fueling your adventures. So there's different kinds of ways that you can do it in terms of the money part of it.
Wow. First of all, I just want to say thank you for sharing that, difficult part of your life, because a lot of times we see people online and we romanticize their lives, and we think that our lives are the ones that, we have issues. And
right.
So I thank you for sharing that. I just concluded a virtual summit, and during the time I was hosting the virtual summit, and during the time I was doing some of those interviews, I was going through some serious family issues. But, you still have to come out and be like, hi, welcome to the summit and everything. So totally. I thank you for sharing that, because that is, that's just awesome that you're looking at it as an opportunity instead of getting all depressed about what's going on. You're like, well, it's an opportunity for me to figure out what else I want to do with my life. And I think that's the perspective that we need to have. So
I think, though, I will say one thing on that. I'm still am dealing, you still have to deal with that depression. I'm still sad about it. There's still things that are going on with it, but it's choosing to say, okay, well, I'm not just going to stay here. How can I be sad and also pursue other stuff? Or how can I be a mom to a kid with special needs, but also still do some other things? Or how can, it's this unintended journey that you weren't planning on taking, but how can you really make the best of it? And how can you you're still going to feel your feelings. You're still going to go through a hard time. You're still going to, even being here in Portland, Maine hasn't been perfect, but, how can you keep just going and keep choosing to look for those open windows, those open doors, the next thing that you're going to do, instead of just staying where you are because you're too scared to do anything else.
That's exactly what it is, Esther. You have to deal with it. If you don't deal with it, you're going to have to deal with it eventually. But just being positive that you will make it through, that things will work out eventually. I think that's just what I'm hearing from you. And I love that energy and I love that perspective. So, Esther, we've been talking for a long time and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I have to be respectful of your time. So tell us, how can we connect with you so that if we have more questions, we want to take a course with you or something like that, how can we just connect with you?
Yeah, so I have some different resources for everybody. So the first one is I have a free book. It is How to Work from Home Without Selling Anything. And it talks about talks a little bit about my story, but then it talks about the world of virtual assisting and all the different kinds of things that you can do with virtual assisting, how to get started, the requirements. It goes into more detail than I gave today. So that could be really helpful. It's short. It's not super long. You can grab that from virtualassistantinternship.com/book. And the other great resource is I have a group that I run where we post legitimate home-based jobs, all different kinds of jobs you can do from home or, contract gigs, all different kinds of things. And that is virtualassistantinternship.com/group. So you can go there and join the group. And then the other resource, if you want to let's say you want to get a course made maybe, or you want someone to help you with, maybe you run your own business and you need someone to help with a social media package like I described, let's say, or you need someone to take a look at all these interviews that you've done and turn it into a book or anything like that related to your content and making it awesome. You can go to esthermariecreative.com and it's the same thing on Facebook, Esther Marie Creative. And that's me. And you'll find me. My packages are on there. There's a consultation button on there, all different kinds of things.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So you heard that, ladies. Make sure you connect with Esther Marie Creative online. And we will have all the links and everything in the show notes so that you can easily just click on it and it will take you there. Thank you so much, Esther, for your time. It has really been an awesome conversation.
You are welcome. I hope it was helpful for everybody.
Very, very helpful. And there you have it, ladies. Make sure you go and figure out how to make money online. It's not hard and it doesn't have to be spam. So make sure you go and you connect with Esther and you find out how you can learn from her and how you can start making your millions online as well. Make sure you go ahead to our website, osailasisi.com/money, and subscribe so that you always get the podcast regularly. You don't want to miss experts like these. Every single month, we have 2 experts. So make sure you go ahead and you subscribe online. Thank you all. Have a great day.